Hi, welcome to the Real Estate Roundtable, where we discuss all topics real estate. I'm Nick Ahrens.
Hey, and I'm Steve Crowley.
I'm Darren Shepard.
And I'm Jimmy Reed, and we're your hosts.
Welcome to the Real Estate Roundtable podcast, where we talk all things real estate. I'm Nick Ahrens, and today on the show, we've got Josh.
Josh Meador, California Best Title.
Yep.
All right.
So a lot of people go, what the heck is title?
What is title? Is that the question?
Well, yeah.
What is title insurance?
What is title? Like, what does title actually mean?
Yeah, title is how someone holds property and is the means of a property transferring to a new buyer. A title company's function really is to ensure and issue a policy to the buyer that there isn't any issues that they're inheriting from the previous owner, such as clouds on title, who really owns it, prior liens from previous owners that now you're responsible for. So a title insurance company's job is to protect a new homeowner from that. Okay,
got it. So you may have said this with some of those terms you just noted. But a lot of people, I actually get this question a decent amount. Hey, Nick, I want to get protected when I buy this home. How do I know someone's not going to come after me in 5 years and be like, no, you owe me $100,000 because you bought this home.
Right.
You're the new owner.
Right. So
so someone owed them money from that property, and then they inherit that, owing some random person $100,000 in this example.
So that is specifically what title insurance protects against, right? So as long as that title company does their due diligence, examines the chain of title, clears everything out, and the property closes and transfers to that new buyer, if something does pop up and emerge like that, the homeowner would be able to go back to the title company and say, hey, I have a claim here. Somebody came knocking on my door for an old $100,000 loan, and you guys insured this. So then the title company would, in that case, issue a claim and cover that hehomeowner with that issue.
Okay, got it.
Yeah. Exciting stuff.
Really exciting stuff. Important though.
Yeah.
So I heard some states actually. So in California, is it a requirement for sale? Or is it not required?
Not an absolute requirement. We could work out. Let's say we're family members, and you want to sell me the house, kind of under the table, if you will. Title insurance isn't an absolute requirement, but it should be. And every buyer should have title insurance because it protects you. And, unfortunately, because the consumers don't really know what title insurance is, they undervalue the importance of that protection. And so hopefully this discussion right now, this episode will help educate homeowners and bring that awareness. But it is super important. Don't overlook it, ladies and gentlemen. Title insurance is something that is necessary to protect you, and the biggest purchase that you and your family, acquire. So.
Yeah, I think you brought up a really good point, because I know people who've bought homes from family members or best friends and things like that. They go, you know what? We're just going to cut out the middleman. We're going to cut out realtors. Yeah. I don't want to deal with an escrow company. I don't want to deal with all this paperwork.
Yeah.
Just buy it directly from me.
Right.
That sounds like
no
the
escrow.
most common issue where there's going to be some sort of claim or title issue that person's inheriting.
Absolutely, because no one's taken the time in that scenario to do their due diligence to clear any items and make sure there is no old liens. And so, you would be up the creek on that one, going that route, no title insurance, no escrow, doing it under the table, just a family and a smile and a handshake transaction. And, you would be liable. Let's say, Uncle Frank sold you the property in the scenario that we just discussed, but Uncle Frank was a naughty man and he owed, the IRS some money, and it was, showing up against that property, then that might be an issue.
Got it. Or maybe he redid his whole kitchen but never paid the contractor the remaining
That's
amount.
Another potential
that
issue.
Gonna come after you who bought the home.
Absolutely.
Uncle Frank is no longer on the hook for that money.
Right. Well, I don't know about
maybe,
that. That opens up all this world of litigation, right? And so once again, if you went the safe route, did it above board, got the title company involved, and they issued a policy, and that issue that emerges was under the coverage, you're protected.
Got it.
So you don't even, it's not even the monetary issue. It's also the bandwidth that would require to go get attorneys and litigate and hash that all out in court. The time wasted. Our courts don't move too fast. So So yeah,
No,
it could be a very long, drawn out process to remedy and fix that.
Got it.
Yeah.
Interesting. So I'm curious. That said, obviously, we just gave a hypothetical example with an Uncle Frank. But what's a situation you've encountered where there has been a title issue?
I'll refer to something most recently. We had a real estate agent that purchased a property. They used another title company, but he realized that there were some major encroachments. In other words, the fence from his neighbor's house was way across the property line onto his. And and then he realized this afterwards, and he went to the title company and discovering this issue. And that wasn't part of the coverage, unfortunately, with that company. So they were, he tried to file a claim and they wouldn't do it. And he was understandably very upset because
he wants to reclaim that area of his yard.
Yeah. And now he's going to have to go through a litigation process and work it out with the neighbor and go to courts. And so my team and I kind of pointed him in the right direction. And it was just very sad to see, you make this purchase, you're excited about it, and then it wasn't quite what you paid for to some extent.
Yeah.
So, that's always that's a big bummer, right?
Yeah, exactly. I'm curious. So what's considered like a good title versus bad title coverage? Where's help where people most likely are going to need it, and where's something that you hear a lot of times where you go, buyer or seller, like, you're probably good. This is like a one-off, literally one in several million kind of chance.
Right. Well, let's just start with the fact that the company is going to be around if there is a claim, if something was missed, that they're going to be around to honor that claim, right? So that's a big issue. A lot of sophisticated home buyers are doing transactions. They want to use a larger company that they feel comfortable is going to be around, who has survived many ups and downs of the markets and isn't going to close up their doors after issuing the policy. And now you're not going to have anybody to go to. So I think that's a really important factor in making a decision which title company to use. I have 4 underwriters with my company, and 3 of them are historically proven, the biggest underwriters in the country. So, we can give them that flexibility. If you want a policy with this big company, we can issue that. Or if you want this one to save a little bit of money, we can issue that. But that's the first primary point. Are they still going to be around to pay the claim? The second is, are they competent? Do they have a team that's going to thoroughly examine the chain of title, making sure there isn't going to be any issues? Are they competent in performing that task? I had another client that purchased a home. She's a fix and flipper. She also lists house, whatever. But this was a personal investment, and the title company missed a agreement between the owner. It was kind of like a tenant agreement. Like he was gonna rent to own. And the title company missed it. It was recorded, and she couldn't take possession of her new property to rent it out and to renovate it and do her thing.
So just for context, she went through the process of getting a loan or a hard money loan or whatever it is, bought the property,
bought the house,
money moved,
went to the seller.
She just kind of went, great, I got my keys, I'm ready to go now.
Yes, but the title company missed something that kept her from taking possession of the property. And so here she is hemorrhaging, the money's gone. That she paid for the property, but also now the clock is ticking on getting a renter in there and doing what she had intended for that property to make it profitable for her. Now, I think it ended up taking like 12 months for them to litigate and figure it out, but that was because the title company was incompetent on that transaction and missed and didn't do their thorough due diligence to clear out the chain of title.
Geez, so they were paying HOA and taxes and mortgage and everything just for 12 months.
Yes.
Wow.
So it was she was understandably very upset and so we've seen, and that's something the consumer doesn't know. Title's almost like the fire department. You never really use them, but when you need them, they better be good and they better be there for the consumer, for the client, right?
Yeah.
So super important.
Got it. That's so interesting. It's so how do you guys, for example, how do you find those things that get recorded?
So every property has a chain of title, which is essentially the history of that property. Early on in my career, we had people, we had these lot books that we would go to, right?
Yeah.
Like things were handwritten in books. And so I had a couple of homeowners that said, hey, Josh, or whatever title company XYZ that you're at, I want you to deed all the way back to the King of Spain and then like, you know, create this beautiful little thing that I can frame and hang it in my house so I can see that whole succession of who's, you know, the land and who's owned it all the way so that it's the beginning. And so we've done that, but that's some insight into the history of each property. And so the titles company's job is to go through that history and clear out any items going back to the previous owner, right?
Yeah.
So
okay.
I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
It does.
So yeah, every property has a chain of title, which is the history of the property that the title company relies on.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
And are there any differences? So obviously, I'm helping a lot of sellers. I'm helping a lot of buyers. Is there any difference in what the title company's job or the title representative's job would be on the purchasing side versus the selling side?
For the title representative's role
in how they can help and how they can help facilitate and problem solve.
Yeah, I mean, I can't really speak for anybody else, other title reps out there. One of the main things that my team and I do and are trained to do is as soon as we open a resale transaction, we ask for the statement of information so we can clear out the individual that's selling, making sure there's no IRS or individual judgments, child support judgments against the seller. That's an important second component that needs to be cleared. And then we also, as soon as the preliminary title report is done, we have the SI on the seller. We take the time to review everything, review the report, and then we communicate, which is super important. Okay, we see an old, deed of trust that doesn't have a reconveyance recorded. We think it's probably released, but at that point in time, we communicate with everybody. I always like to say, you like surprises for your birthday, for your wedding anniversary, for Christmas, but nobody likes surprises in their real estate transaction. So we do our due diligence up front to make sure there are no surprises as soon as the preliminary title report is created.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. Yeah, that makes sense. What are some of the common misconceptions of just title in general, how it works, or?
Once again, I don't think people know too much about title insurance, right? I think the misconception is that we don't do anything, that we're not necessary, unimportant in the transaction. But those that have had problems pop up in their transaction and who have had to file a claim, they quickly realize how important title insurance is.
Yeah.
So that would be the major misconception, is that we don't play a important role within the transaction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't want any single person I'm helping out to be able to buy a home, but buy somebody else's debt at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just something that your client isn't signing up for, right?
Yeah.
Like no one wants to do that. Yeah. I owe an extra $100,000 on, you know what I mean? Like, that would be a not a good situation.
Got it. So if you're buying Uncle Frank's house.
Mm-hmm. No, back to Uncle Frank. Okay.
But if we're buying Uncle Frank's house, make sure we have some sort of title clearance, title insurance there.
Absolutely. Not only that, someone has to record the document, draft the document, record it. Usually escrow drafts up the document. They work in tandem with title, clearing out items, and then someone needs to take it or submit it to the county recorders to make it of record and official. Mm-hmm. So if you're not using title, I guess a consumer could draft it themselves, but is it going to be done correctly? That's another variable to think about as well.
Yeah. Is Uncle Frank drawing up something that would hold up in court if things were to go that direction?
Probably not, right? Did you get it notarized correctly? All those variables. Once again, yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. Any questions for me?
How long you been in the business for?
Quite a long time. Well, I've been in the business since 2011.
2011. Okay.
2011. So how I got into the business, I had this idea, I'm going to get into real estate. I want to flip homes. I think it's fun. I think it's sexy. I think it's cool. You can design different things.
Yeah.
Got into it, started doing that. Actually heard of a lot of different title issues because of what was going on in the wake of 2008, 2009.
Oh, yes.
Doing all kinds of stuff with cash for keys.
Yeah.
All kinds of weird, crazy things.
Right.
At the auction and seeing it all and observing it and being right there in the mix.
Yeah.
So that was my first encounter with title, was going, okay, this property is going to sale at auction in 4th position.
Right.
For $9, and it's a $3 million home with 180-degree ocean views, and no one's buying it for $9.
Yeah.
What does 4th position mean? And why does nobody want this $3 million home for $9?
Yeah. So it's funny that you bring that up in 2008, and in that time frame. I was in customer service at a local title company at that point in time. And literally every day we would get phone calls from people at the courthouse steps going, I need a verbal prelim. So basically I need you to do what a title search and examining team would do in the course of 24 to 48 hours on the spot. I need you to look at taxes. I need you to look at the chain of title. I need you to run a GI on the individual, make sure there's nothing there. And I need you to tell me what position the loan I'm bidding on is in for that very reason. So that's very something that I'm very familiar with those days. So 12, we're kind of getting close to being kind of the veterans now. You know, I've been in the business for 23 years.
Yep.
We're both we're both young guys, but it just feels like we're definitely like stepping our foot over into the threshold of being veterans in the industry.
Well, a lot of people don't last in the business. They get into real estate going, man, I'm going to make a career out of this. I'm going to make a killing. I'm going to make tons of money. I'm going to sell 3 $10 million homes a year and go and have the yacht and the vacations.
Yeah,
and the
right. Yeah,
and the nice suits. And that's all I'm going to do for the rest of my life. And then I realize, oh gosh, this is hard.
It is super.
What did I get myself into?
You know,
that's why there's so much turnover in the business.
Absolutely.
I mean, how many agents do you know? Of all the agents you encounter, because you know a lot of you've got a deep Rolodex.
Yeah.
Like how many people have actually been in the business for more than 6-7 years?
I mean,
if you start looking at like brokerages and offices and stuff, and people actually producing and selling more than say 10 homes a year, who've been in the business over 10 years.
I would say, like, if I had to quantify it down to percentage, I'd say maybe 20%. I think 80% end up failing. For various different reasons, you know, not lack of consistency, whatever that may be. But yeah, no, you're certainly right. It isn't as easy as some agents make it look. And when you're out on the outside looking in, you're like, I can do that. I'll just put the sign in the front yard. I'll announce to everybody, I'm a realtor now. Send me your house to sell. And it just doesn't, you know, it's this lavish lifestyle. And there is a lot of work, a lot of sweat equity that is put in. You know, I every once in a while I'm on TikTok and I see there's some content creators on there and they hate on realtors and they say, you don't need a realtor. And it's, you know, I'm blessed to work with a lot of the top agents. And truly, to anybody that's seeing this, like a good realtor is worth their weight in gold. And we certainly need realtors to, good realtors to sell your house, to help you with that purchase transaction. You know, I hate to see when people undervalue the role of the realtors, but it's because of that other 80% that isn't actually, and just think it's just all fun and games, right?
Yeah.
So
I want to come back to the courthouse steps thing, because that
okay, let's go. Let's go there.
My parents own a home in San Clemente, and down the street from them there was a home that was a second position lien. The HOA was selling the property, and for I think like $13,000. Big views. The home was worth about $1.2 million. So why wouldn't somebody buy that home, and the HOA is foreclosing in a second position?
Right.
So
you still have that first mortgage. I see where you're going.
Yeah.
You have to account for all of the debt on the property, because
so if you buy it for that $30,000 HOA bill,
right,
what happens?
Pay that off. So that HOA.
So you're at the courthouse steps. You're like, oh, $30,000 for this house. Cool.
Right.
Here's $30,000, Mr. Auctioneer. Right. I get my house. Now what?
Right. So now you are responsible for the first mortgage or anything that's in position prior to that HOA, or if it's a second loan or a third loan or a fourth loan that's getting foreclosed on, you still have to take care of those other debts that are in first, second, third position on that property. So, you know.
Because there's no title insurance to clear those out.
Thank you. Yes. Now you're
You just inherited somebody else's debt.
You just inherit. Exactly. I see what you did there. You brought it full circle. That was good. Yeah.
Uncle
yeah.
Frank became the auctioneer.
Yeah. Precisely. Yeah. So that's, another IFC content about going to auction and buying properties. It's this easy, but no, there's, you need to have at the very least a good, reliable title person and company that's knowledgeable to clear those items and really let you know what you're getting into. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that one, the one on my parents' street, actually nobody bought.
Right. Surprise.
Nobody bought. The home at the time was worth about $1 million, but there was an IRS debt. Mm-hmm. Hadn't paid taxes in years.
Yeah. So that means the debt, everybody realized they didn't bid on it because they realized the debt that they would inherit was more than the value of the property. So it wouldn't be a profitable purchase.
You buy the property for $30,000, but you're also buying that IRS debt for $1.2 million.
Yeah.
And a house that needs a lot of work.
Yeah. That's things you don't want to inherit.
Yeah.
So definitely.
There's good debt and bad debt. Right?
Yeah.
Someone else's debt to the IRS is not good debt. Don't buy that.
Yeah. No, absolutely. So.
Yeah. I think that's it. Unless you have any other questions, thoughts, comments. I missed anything?
No, not really. I thought, should we talk about how we can help agents, like how agents should interact with a title company or?
Yeah, actually, I don't know a whole lot about that, if I'm totally honest.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how could like a title...
How could a title representative or a title company help agents?
Yeah. So we have access to this treasure trove of data. Some are better in leveraging it and using it to help their real estate agents. Mm-hmm. The first and foremost is that your real estate or your title company and title rep should be able to close and make the transaction smoothly, review the prelims, yada, 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 all that stuff. Yeah. But then on the other side, like I said, we have access to a treasure trove of data, and that is valuable. Data is valuable for the real estate agents when they're putting together marketing plans and deciding where they're going to market to. Like one of the biggest, in my opinion, things that realtors are told by title people that is absolutely incorrect is choosing an area based off a high turnover ratio. That's usually been like the way that title people have told agents, hey, you need to find a neighborhood to market to so you can get listings, then it needs to have a 6% turnover ratio. I'm literally the only one in the industry that's saying this is a fundamentally flawed business concept. And it's like if there's a high turnover ratio, that means it's probably exhausted the houses that are going to sell in that community. You're kind of showing up too late. And like I said, it's led to a lot of realtors failing in their marketing plans.
Yeah, because I know, for example, and I see this all the time. One home will sell in a particular community, nothing in there sold for a while.
Right.
One of the neighbors goes, oh my gosh.
I can get.
They sold for that?
Right.
Think about what I can get.
Right. Exactly.
I need to sell my house.
Yes.
Now I can make the dream trip to Colorado or Arizona or Utah or Idaho or wherever it is.
Right.
This is actually doable. Let's go.
Right.
They stick the sign on the ground, they sell, and now one of the other neighbors goes, if 2 homes sold at those numbers, there's that much demand for my community. I need to take that jump and maybe buy the bigger house,
right?
Or maybe move out of state again, or whatever that might be,
right?
And so a lot of times, we see that higher turnover as a result of that type of concept,
right?
So all the people who are on the fence about moving realize they can do it, they move.
Yes.
And then everyone who's about to move already moved.
Right,
so
exactly.
Why target and market that particular community?
And that's exactly my theory or thought process. It's like it's already too late. Now there's been a big spike in sales. The 6-7 homes that we're going to sell sold already, and now you're going to start marketing to that community, right? Your chances are there's maybe going to be one more sale, and you're going to have 10 realtors fighting over that. So I try to educate the realtors that I come in contact with that's a fundamentally flawed business plan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. What do you think we need to do? Obviously, we have a inventory crisis in our country right now. People don't want to sell for various different reasons. What do you think we could do to help create a situation that's beneficial for the seller and kind of navigates that, I have a 3% Now I'm gonna purchase a replacement home. Great, I got my $800,000 in equity, but now I have a 7% mortgage rate or whatever it is.
2 ways to go about it. One takes a lot of strategy and a lot of time, and one is a quick phone call. The quick phone call Jerome Powell, say, hey, dude, we got to drop rates. Just cut them in half tomorrow. Don't worry. The economy will be fine.
Right.
I got this.
Yes. So that one's not happening.
That was probably not happening.
Yeah.
Second strategy, make an actual plan with a real estate professional. When I'm talking to a seller, like I'm talking to a married couple right now. They've got 2 kids. They're in a townhouse. It's a big, giant. It's a huge townhouse. They've got a big yard. They've updated it. They like it. They are just running out of space. They both need home offices. And they're going, hey, Nick, we're in a situation where our interest rate is 2.9%. And we're having to all double or more than double that interest rate to be able to move into that next home. And so our monthly payment is just going to skyrocket. Well, what the heck do we do? So we've been planning now for about 6 or 8 months to try to strategize on their particular economy, their investment strategy, their wealth building strategy with 401ks, with other investments, with their stock portfolio, with their financial advisor, with their CPA, on how to create that financial package to work for them as to how to make that jump and how to make that move. So we're going to help pull some stock, knowing that next home is going to be an investment, and look at it from that perspective.
Yeah, that's smart.
As well as all these other dynamics of household income and everything else.
Right.
It just takes a lot more planning to make sure people don't have blind spots, especially when their payments are going to double just for 2 extra bedrooms and an extra bathroom.
Right.
Yeah.
Could another option be finding someone that is completely has no mortgage on the company, like or on their property rather, and that could do a seller carryback? And if a seller carryback, they can control what percentage they want to charge them, right? So would that be an option, or?
You can do that. There's all kinds of different loan programs to help mitigate payments for some of them it's 2 years, some of it's 3 years, some of it's 5, sometimes it's 7, sometimes it's 10,
right? Depending
on what particular loan program somebody's using. We can get concessions from the sellers. We can get all kinds of different things. But in this market, because of what you noted, it takes somebody who's really good at their craft, highly educated and highly skilled, to be able to know what stones to uncover and what areas to look at to put all of those massive amounts of puzzle pieces together for somebody.
Right. That's no easy.
It's not an easy task.
That's no easy path. Yeah. And Jerome Powell isn't going. Yeah.
And I tried calling Jerome. He said no.
You got his number, huh?
I'm not going to do anything.
You got his number.
It was on Google. I don't know if it's actually.
Awesome, man.
Yeah.
Awesome.
But hey, thanks for coming in today.
Hey, thank you so much, Nick. Really appreciate the time. Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
If you guys have any questions, title related, real estate related, planning related, let us know. Happy to help. If you are buying from Uncle Frank, have a title professional there. And I also recommend at least one realtor minimum, just facilitating to make sure things don't go awry.
Absolutely.
And people are actually getting represented in the right way. You don't have any blind spots going into it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Take care.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks again for listening to the Real Estate Roundtable. If you'd like to connect with any of the sales partners here on the REIT team, our information is below and we'd love to chat with you.